Emma Hayes took a deep breath as the sun dipped behind the towering pines, painting the sky in warm streaks of amber and gold. The pool at her boutique rental estate shimmered in the evening light, the water catching the last rays before nightfall. Emma loved this time of day. It was her ritual, checking chlorine levels, straightening lounge chairs, locking up the gates, simple acts that grounded her. This estate wasn't just a business. It was a reflection of nearly a decade of hard work, late nights, and endless sacrifices. Emma still remembered the endless meetings to secure the loan, the exhausting fight for permits, and the grueling months she spent handling every piece of maintenance herself when she couldn't afford extra help. Now, her hard work had paid off. The estate thrived, drawing high-end guests who craved privacy and tranquility. As she latched the pool gate for the evening, she heard a sharp voice behind her. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" Emma paused, already sensing where this was heading. Turning around, she saw a woman in her mid-50s standing stiffly at the edge of the property line. Arms crossed, jaw clenched, she squinted at Emma like she was trying to solve a riddle she didn't like. "I'm closing a pool for the night," Emma replied, keeping her tone even. The woman stepped forward, her sandals crunching on the gravel. "You work here?" Emma bit back a sigh. "I own this property." The woman blinked, as if the words didn't compute. Then a sharp laugh. "Oh, really? That's interesting because I happen to know the owner." Emma tilted her head. "You do? Of course. This is a high-end rental. I doubt the real owner would be okay with some random person locking things up." Emma's patience was thinning. "I'm Emma Hayes. I bought this estate in 2014. But the woman wasn't having it. She whipped out her phone. "You need to leave. I'm calling the police." Emma chuckled dryly. "You're calling the police on me? And my own property?" "Exactly. If you're telling the truth, you won't mind proving it." The woman pressed the call button before Emma could respond. She wandered a few feet away, gesturing wildly as she spoke to the dispatcher. "Yes, I need officers at the Clearwater estate. There's someone trespassing. She's acting like she owns the place." Emma stood still, arms crossed, listening as the woman's voice rose in urgency. She already knew how this would play out. She'd been here before, assumed, questioned, dismissed, but this felt worse somehow. The woman turned back to Emma, her smugness unshaken. "The police are on their way. I suggest you stay put." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I'm not going anywhere." The minutes crawled by until the distant wail of sirens broke through the quiet. Blue and red lights splashed across the estate as two patrol cars pulled up to the entrance. The woman straightened, like she'd summoned heroes, and marched toward them. "Officers, thank God you're here," she called, pointing at Emma like she was a criminal mid-heist. She was closing the pool, pretending like she owns the place. Emma stood tall, hands relaxed at her sides, as the lead officer approached. He was tall with sharp features and an air of quiet authority. His partner, stockier and younger, followed closely. "Ma'am," the lead officer said to Emma, "do you live here?" "I own this estate," Emma replied calmly. The woman let out an incredulous scoff. "No, she does not." The officer's eyes flicked between them before returning to Emma. "Do you have identification?" Emma nodded, moving slowly as she reached into her pocket for her wallet. She wasn't about to make any sudden moves, not in this situation. She handed over her ID. "I also have property documents inside if you need them." The officer studied the license, his brow furrowing as he read her name. He then turned to the woman. "And what's your relation to this property?" I live nearby. I've seen the owner before." "This isn't her." The officer didn't react. "Miss Hayes," he said, glancing back at the ID. "What exactly happened?" Emma gestured toward the woman. "I was locking up my pool, as I do every night, when she decided I didn't belong here and called you." The officer squinted at her license again, something shifting in his eyes. "Wait a second," he muttered. His partner leaned over his shoulder to take a look. "Emma Hayes," the first officer repeated, the name triggering something in his memory. Suddenly, his expression softened. "Hey, I know you. You're on the news a few years back, right? Ran that community outreach program in Seattle." Emma smiled faintly. "That's me. The officer chuckled. My niece got a scholarship through that program. Small world. The woman paled. Wait, what? The officer handed Emma back her ID before turning to the woman, now visibly unraveling. And you said she was trespassing? I thought she was. You thought? The officer pressed. Did you ask her any questions before calling us? The woman stammered. I just assumed. That's the problem. Emma cut in, her voice cool. You assumed. The officer sighed deeply. Ma'am, this isn't a police matter. Miss Hayes owns this property. There was no crime. The woman swallowed hard, her earlier bravado crumbling. I didn't know. Emma's jaw tightened. Didn't know what? That someone like me could own this place. The woman opened her mouth to object, but no words came out. The second officer finally spoke. She could file a complaint against you for this. The woman's face burned crimson. I wasn't trying to cause trouble. You wasted our time. The officer replied flatly. All because you didn't bother to ask a simple question. The woman looked around, realizing the guests had been watching the whole time. Phones were out, recording. Emma exhaled slowly. Are we done here? The lead officer nodded. Unless you want to press charges. Emma glanced at the woman, now deflated and humiliated. No, she's already done enough damage. She turned to walk away, but paused. Next time, think before you call the cops. The next morning, sunlight streamed through Emma's windows. She stretched, the tension from the previous night still lingering but softened by sleep. Her phone buzzed. Messages from guests, a text from her assistant, Olivia. You're trending. Someone recorded everything. The internet is eating it up. Emma sighed. Of course someone had posted it. Clicking the link, she saw the video. Shaky footage, the whole confrontation laid bare. The comments section exploded, some condemning the neighbor, others praising Emma's composure. Her phone rang. Olivia again. They want interviews. Like big outlets. Emma rubbed her temples. Not interested. Emma, this could be. The video says enough. Emma cut in. I don't need to make it a bigger spectacle. There was a beat of silence. Then Olivia chuckled. You're a better person than me. I'd be milking this for all it's worth. Emma laughed softly. Trust me, I thought about it. As the day unfolded, the story spread further. People shared their own experiences of being profiled or dismissed, turning the comments into something bigger than just one incident. It was a conversation about assumptions, privilege, and belonging. And while Emma hadn't wanted the attention, she couldn't help but feel a spark of hope. Maybe someone, somewhere would think twice next time. She stepped outside, her gaze sweeping over the estate, the pool, the gardens, the elegant villa she had poured her soul into. This was hers. She had built it, and no amount of assumptions or ignorance could take that away. Not now. Not ever.